KC College, Mumbai. We welcome you, ma'am. I also welcome all the participants to today's session. Now I request my friend Hemchand to introduce the speaker.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Manjula Srinivas heads the Department of Mass Media at KC College, Mumbai since 2001. She has branded the media UG and PG programs of her department, and she has been instrumental in bringing the institution on the national map. Department of Mass Media ranks in the top 15 colleges of India's Today rankings and top 10 in the Week magazines. Currently, she is the chairperson of Board of Studies of Mass Media, HSNC University Chairperson, Board of Studies, St.Xavier College, Mumbai, member of Board of Studies of Patkar College and Jhunjhunwala College. She is a MA, MPhil and completed her Ph.D. in Media Economics from Mumbai University. Now I would request the speaker to take over the session.
Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for giving that sweet introduction. I can understand some of us have network issues. So Narayan sir, just relax, it's okay. We all have gone through these kind of, anxious moments. And trust me, sometimes the internet just gives away. So we don't know what to do. So I am very happy to see about 50 plus participants who have, registered for this session. So without much delay, I would request me to be enabled to share the screen. Can I?
Yes, ma'am. You have the options, ma'am. You can go ahead.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah, visible, ma'am. Perfect, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. We just try as, Prinsky, one of the very, very, prominent kind of critics who has spoken about it, that there are two kinds of people who use media. And one is the people who are digital immigrants to one who are digital natives. So Narayan sir just completed the sentence. So we belong to the digital immigrants category, where I am equally worried about my presentation, that if it doesn't go well, I have a grown-up lawyer son sitting outside. I have just told him, hello, if I call you, you please come fast, because I don't know if there is a problem. So I think that is something which we learned from our students for the last so many months. And they have taught us what exactly and how to use technology. And believe me, it has been such a pleasant journey of teaching students on digital media. So going back to our title, which is Media Business, it is redefined in 2021. What do I bring to you in this presentation is a very simple message, that in the last 1 year, that what we have seen as the pandemic period, it was just the end of the misery. The beginning of the misery started in 2019, when the economy started, shaking, and we all had, we all tried to be very optimistic about it, that things will do well, things will work well. And then came the pandemic in the month of March, and media business was literally shattered in a lot of its, forms. And I am not saying this because as a teacher, as a media educator, I am a person who is observing the business around me. And I could just bring it to the classroom to the students like you all are there here right now. But the kind of people who got very badly affected by this is what the presentation is all about. How are we going to put things together? How are we going to work on our future projects? A lot of projects, business projects related to media, were discussed without realizing that the pandemic would give us this kind of problems. So what happens and how do we do it is what the presentation is all about. So assuming that you all are not having a background of media, I thought I will just give you a brief understanding of how Media works. Media works in the broadcasting, publishing, and internet areas. Media includes different types of communication, which are in the form of information or entertainment. But there is also films and corporates and promotional and web-based material, which all fall into media. Media is basically divided into something we call as legacy media and digital media and new media. So if I may ask you, what is new media today is very different from what new media was in 1980s. So any medium which was used at that point of time and then a new medium entered at that point of time was the new media. So when there was radio, television became the new media. When television was there, then satellite television became the new media. And then came the boom, which you all generally are born with, but we have seen the transition, which is internet and emails and computers and laptops, and then what we call as MSOs, multiple screen options, which the digital media has given us. So today, the entire thing is redefined in a very, very different way. The structure has shaken a lot of traditional mediums and hence the business. But do we really see a drastic change? Do we see a replacement? Do you think most of these mediums will disappear? The answer is no, for the simple reason, when radio was there, we thought TV will replace radio. When we thought TV is there, satellite radio will replace TV and radio. More importantly, most of us thought that cinema halls will not screen the films. This business will go away because most of us got televisions and systems in the house where we could see the films. But even today, and I vouch for it, especially in the South Indian states where watching a movie is considered to be a social phenomena. We all go and watch films because we think that's the best way of spending a weekend. It doesn't make any difference to the other parts of the country. TV viewing is definitely there, but films are equally an important part of the business. So, which films? I would say the films which are universally accepted, liked, and watched by people with a simple budget. So a PVR to a multiplex to a popcorn, which is 300, to a samosa, which is 200, to a Coke or a Pepsi, which is 200, is not film viewing. That is something which we call as for the elitists, for the people who can find movie watching as an expensive proposition. It is not for us, generally, for the general masses. Okay, so keeping in mind all this, I'm sure some of you must have used this picture. I have also taken it from the internet. Don't think I have created it myself. My software skills are not that good as you may think so. But yes, this specifically talks about the different windows which could be used, as IMC says, as a strategy in which a product can be introduced to its consumer, to its customer, to its user. Okay, so if you look at so many ways in which the integrated platforms are going to give you a very different kind of an experience as a user. So if I want that user to be connected to my products or to my content, it is very important that I do an intensive research of what exactly is required from a particular TG, what you call as a target group. So these are some of the options which I can see, which is like how on mobile, to blogs, to public relation, to other offline mediums, for example, out of home or transit advertising. When you look at an ad on a bus, to the video content which is shared in different forms. The other day I was explaining this to another group that the video production part of media is an essential part of learning in today's times. You may be doing your MBAs, but believe me, if you understand how a three-dimensional experience of a product is required by the customer, you have to give that kind of experience now, because a lot of it is available online. Okay, so even if you're buying a toothbrush to you're buying a 10,000 rupees dress, all you need to do is just look at the video or look at the different ways in which the product is shared with us, which gives us an excellent experience of knowing. You can go further close up and see this is what these are all multimedia tools. These are all production of media in different forms. So that cannot be segregated from other forms of learning. Gone are those days when you say that I am doing science, but I don't know how to use a camera. Gone are those days you say that I'm an engineer and I should not know what media is or what photography is. So the more skills you acquire and the more observant you are going to be one of the best managers which the media houses look forward to. Okay, so even if you see in these circles, some of them are already old and some of them have not been introduced. For example, I don't see a Twitter or an Instagram in this picture, which is a part of our IMC now. So if I want a product today, I may not go to Facebook, I may not go to a Myntra or a Snackdeal or one of these stores directly. I may want to see what is the user's experience on Instagram. So the minute the user says, see, this is how it is, and I've added this, and this is how it becomes, and this is so good, that makes me feel more believable as a customer. So as business managers, we need to also rework on these kind of things. It cannot be that I know how the 4 P's of marketing are. Those are definitely going to be there, but redefine those 4 P's of marketing. Correct? So today, if I look at an Instagram promo, or I look at a small message on Twitter, a small video on Twitter by one of the ones whom you follow, it makes a difference to me. I may not be aware of the fact that there is something called as influencing marketing. There are people who are hired, there are people who have a lot of followers, who are approached by a lot of companies to ensure that they talk about that product. There is an inbuilt celebrity marketing. I'm sure you all must be going through these kind of modules in your program where sorry, where you realize that a celebrity on his Instagram page says that I just got my Nike kit. So when I read that message and I see a Ranbir Kapoor with a Nike kit, all I can think about is, wow, Ranbir Kapoor, or maybe any actor whom we follow, and if he's displaying one of his brands, it is somewhere he's getting paid for it. He will not do it for free. So these advertising is not something which we are aware of. We can educate our students and tell them that, listen, there is a reason why somebody is talking about a product. So you may have a lot of friends in your groups, you may have bloggers in your group, you may have friends on Instagram, and you may have friends on Facebook. You will realize that somebody suddenly starts talking about a lot of things related to a particular brand, to a particular quality of that brand. So don't think that that happens. Maybe sometimes it may happen, but if I am the person or you are the person, and if I am told that, listen, I will pay you some money, why don't you just talk good things about this product? And you know that you've got a long list of people who follow you, or you are very influential on the social media platforms. These are the people who are used. They are the newest forms of advertising. Okay. So in media, we divide the media into a lot of categories, but these are the basic categories which we call. So if I were a student of media management in 80s to a student who was a media management student in the 2001 or 2 to somebody who is now, if you can see my cursor, this is what I'm talking about. OTT platforms. Where were they 3 years back, 4 years back? Even today, if I ask a lot of people, They may not agree to something like Game of Thrones. I mean, a lot of South Indian families are very conventional and very traditional. I may be sitting in Mumbai, but I am a very hardcore South Indian. So our values to our, desired values to our perceived values to our fantasies are very different things. And that experience, if a user is getting sitting in his house, sitting in his own room or her own room on her own mobile, that experience has a uniqueness. And then came your fire sticks, then came your different apps on OTT platforms, which is over the top, is the full form. I'm sure you people know about it, but I'm just repeating it. So what are the traditional and legacy media? These are the mediums which were there before digital took over in a big way. So you had traditional forms of advertising, which was on television or it was on radio as a jingle, or it was in print as a print ad. And then you had films, then you had out of home, OOH, then you had photography in its most traditional form, print in its most traditional form. Public relations is a very important part of media, which, media, as media managers, you should know that when you talk about integrated experience for a customer, or you are trying to create a 360-degree solution for a customer, you should know where all, how all you have to start making those campaigns, which creates that kind of buzz for the customer to get into that kind of business. Now, uh, when you look at the new and the social media, there gaming is a big business in media today. Of course, internet brings all this to us, networking sites like Facebook, social media, what we call, and the newest of the new university, which Narayan sir and the other faculty members who are present will agree with me. The newest new is the WhatsApp University. God knows who gives them that content. It just comes to us as if it is the most authentic truth. So I would suggest a very simple thing to the academy, DJ Academy, that sir, please keep a fact finding or a fake news workshop for these students, because even if you are on social media or you are on any kind of medium, you should know that certain stories, certain content in the form of marketing or advertising cannot dissuade a customer. It should not be wrong. So if I see a Ponds Institute ad saying that the Ponds Institute, mentions that this is the best product that can happen to my skin, I would like to know, where is this Ponds Institute? Is it there? I go to a dental institute and that doctor suggests that I should use this. This is the best product. The doctors are not allowed to, the real doctors are not supposed to advertise any product. They will lose their license to practice. These are the ethics of media that we teach our students. And of course, you have digital media, which is advertising, PR in digital space, digital films, digital newspapers. Like in the pandemic, we all, I'm sure, have read e-papers or websites or portals or news shorts or 1 minute videos of news. Okay. And digital radio, I think, is the best thing that can happen to anybody. I'm sure some of you are on Spotify to listen to good music. Digital TV, you will have so many options, and a lot of these options are for free. They're not even paid. And of course, the over the top platforms where your television in its traditional form has an app which takes you to that platform, and you can watch that content from television here to the OTT platforms there through Woot, through Sony Live, through Amazon, through Netflix, through so many now, MX Player. I think there are so many that have come now. So the experience of a user changes. And believe me when I say to you, as management students, it is not easy. It is not easy to sell a product to a customer today because a lot of ads can be skipped on digital platforms. If it is on TV, I will mute my TV, correct? If I'm watching a film on YouTube or on any other channel, I will see that I skip the song, I skip the ad if I have the option. And I mean, even the users have become smarter, the content providers have become smarter. So a lot of it is getting, as you can't skip the ad. You have to watch that ad for 7 seconds. You can skip the ad only after 4 seconds. So these are a lot of, reworking that has happened on digital platforms. So what happens to media? I mean, I'm sure some of you may be getting into the media industry as media managers, as people who are involved or are associated or are connected with media houses. The media houses which creates different kind of content. It could be a newspaper, it could be a television channel, it could be a production house, it could be a film production house, it could be any kind of advertising or a public relation company. It can be a research agency. Believe me, when you study market research, what is market research? Market research is telling you about the target audience. So if you are interested in the research part of it, you still come and get connected to media. Media is a very integrated kind of a thing which has so many options inside it when you study, but also when you apply a particular kind of skill, you cannot ignore one form of one or the other form of media, correct? So media business basically generates a lot of revenue from advertising. You must know that the newspaper which you buy as Hindi, as Hindu, or as any other Tamil newspaper or Telugu or whichever newspaper you study or read, you will be very surprised that the making of that newspaper costs about 18 to 20 rupees. The production cost as is taught to you as business school is not where the cost is taken care of. So if 20 rupees the newspaper production cost is, then the rest of the 16 rupees, if your 4 rupees is the rate of your newspaper, is coming from the advertising. Okay. So then if ads don't come, why do the ads don't come? Because there is a dominoes effect. So how is the dominoes effect? I'll give a very simple example. I may have to skip a few slides for that. I don't mind. So let's say I have a business of cars. Okay. I have cars in Mumbai, a showroom, and that showroom's ads have been prominently there in the local newspapers. Now, let me tell you, the cars are not seeing a lot of business, let's say in the last 1 year. Why? Because a lot of cars were bought by people who had thought about an easy installment scheme. And I think most of us fall in that group as middle class or upper middle class, because lower class will not think of a car, and the affluent class does not care about EMIs. So it is only the middle class which is worried about it. So you are very wanting to buy a car, and if that car installment is going to go for a toss because there is a losing of a job, or there is a pay deduction, so your EMI you can't pay. So some people who plan to buy the cars in the last year have decided to stall it. So that means what? The sale of the car has come down. That means the money ascertained by the showroom for the advertising or for the promotion part has cut down. That means that ad will not come to the newspaper. So you can imagine if hundreds of companies decide to cut down on their PR and advertising, drives, that means that money is not coming to the newspaper. And if it is not coming to the newspaper, the cost is the same, but the revenues are not generated. So you cannot charge your newspaper reader 20 rupees. He will not buy your newspaper. So what do? You start cutting cost. And how do you start cutting cost? By reducing people. Correct? And that's how a lot of people in media have lost their jobs. A lot of production of films and TVs, and of course the shutting of cinema gave a big, setback to the industry. I'm sure you people are very, upgraded with what is happening in the media world. A lot of people have committed suicide. A lot of people have lost their jobs. And there is one more thing which maybe, in a city like Coimbatore, you may not feel, but in a city like Mumbai, a small one room kitchen costs 25,000 rupees rent. I'm talking about a 200 square feet. So if people do not get paid, they have left those homes. People have faltered in their EMIs. That means what? The housing loans have gone for a toss. That means what? The real estate has gone for a toss. So this is what I was talking about, which is, and of course, the newspaper circulation, I mean, this is very purely a media aspect of it. And because of which, the newspapers really faced a very bad time. And I know of such senior people who are very good journalists who were asked to leave because newspaper houses could not afford such high salaries. Okay, this is quickly the breakup of the future of media. If you see, it talks about all different mediums and how the business have happened till now and how they are going to happen in the next 2 years. Okay, so this is a 2019 chart which I've got. Hence it shows 20 as the estimate and then 22 what is estimated, and CAGR is the compound average growth rate. Okay, so what are we looking at by 22? So we can see this table. Television will be just 4% increase. Print will be 1%. Digital media, 23%, a major chunk of the pie. Okay, film entertainment is okay. Just look at animation and VFX, 18%. Okay, live events also fall in the media and entertainment sector, which is 14%. And look at the biggest chunk. Online gaming is 43%. I mean, I'm sure as people of my age group and as parents, we say that, what is this gaming? Why are you sitting and playing on your laptop or on your computer? But there are people who are making lakhs and lakhs of rupees out of this business, which is online gaming. So as managers, as future managers, you cannot ignore these facts. Correct? So if you read, and this is not me saying, this is the FICCI Ernst Young report on media and entertainment sector, okay, which is showing this kind of figures. And the major business is coming from digital media. So if you are joining a company in the next year, you should keep in mind that your business has to be completely around the digital platforms. And if you are not good as a social media manager, you are going to be finished. We run some certificate courses in social media management for our media students, that how do you use these social media in the best possible way to network yourselves. You use your social media for liking a page or for sharing a post or updating your status or maybe whatever, I'm just assuming. But have you ever thought this is going to be the biggest business model in the years to come? So these are all those chart wise description. I'll skip this. Yes. If you see, we need to, I'm sure you know about it. I'm just going to go through it very quickly, that the customers are also segmented. The customers are also design. I mean, we look at the customers as in a particular group when it comes to the consumption of media. So I don't think you watch a television serial because that is being aired. Please remember, as a media educator, I can give you a very different perspective on this, which is media is showing you that content because you want to see that content again and again. So media doesn't decide the content. You are the one who are customizing the content for it to be shown to you. So if a particular program, a particular content is shown repeatedly, or that format is used repeatedly, it could be cooking, it could be, what you call reality shows, or it could be the drama, the melodrama that we call is GEC, General Entertainment Channels give us. And I'm sure the GEC segment is in English or Hindi or other languages like Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Orissa, Assam. Everywhere the user has a different way of looking at the content, and that content is getting customized by the production houses for the user to use it. So if I say digital only, it is the least. Just see the customer segment, which is the highest then. So if I say digital, tactical, bundled, mass consumers, free consumers are the second largest. Mass computers are the third, but the biggest is the bundled one. What is the bundled one? Where they will be very happy to take some as paid ones to some which are free. That is the estimate, that is the observation, which Ernst Young says that your consumers or your customers will be segmented like this. So digital will play a very important role. But digital will not be individually accepted. Agreed? It has to have the traditional or the legacy media as a part of it. So what are the projections that people who use from around 550 million television and smartphone consumers, we expect 1 billion screens by 2025, of which 250 million screens would be television size, while 750 million would be smartphones. So if you are a smart manager, you can see that the mobile phones industry will never have a dearth of people. People are going to buy more and more specified and more lighter, with more storage, with more battery life, with more features. So that means what? This is very important, that the content will be either long form, episodic, and short form. And that provides the content creators and user generated platforms a fair idea of what kind of content should be shown. So there is always going to be a lot of people who are going to give us content in different formats, correct? The other projection is that connected TVs will provide a whole new content opportunity. Connected television sets to grow to 40 to 50 million by 25. From where? From 4 million sets today. We are just talking about 4 years ahead from here. What will be the screens? These content creators will produce content for these screens and reach customers directly without passing through aggregators. What does that mean? Today, when I see Amazon Prime, or if I see Netflix, or if I see MX Player, do I get in touch with Tata Sky? Do I get in touch with my cable operator, Dish TV? No, all these people have lost their business now. Tata Sky is going to be the next big thing which will fall. Come 5G, come more, cheaper internet facilities, people using a lot of phones with great internet speed. The user's experience changes the consumption of the content. So if I can't see the content on my phone, then I may say, chalo, let us leave this, let me see the TV. Correct? Regional story is very important. I think I don't know, I have not told you this, but my PhD is in the business of Marathi newspapers in Mumbai. I have done a very different kind of thesis, which means that who are the newspaper readers in Mumbai, and why is that Mumbai, being a cosmopolitan city, still has a great number of Marathi newspaper readers. And these Marathi newspaper readers, like if I ask you in Coimbatore, are not people who are reading Tamil newspapers because they can't read English. Dinatanti to Dinamalar. Sorry for the pronunciation. But the newspaper readers of your Tamil newspapers or magazines for that matter are not the people who can't read English. They are reading Tamil because they want to read it in Tamil. They see the television serials in Tamil because they want to see it in Tamil, not because they can't understand English channels or Hindi channels. That means the regional content cannot be ever underestimated, which comprises almost over 50% of television viewership. So the jobs are there in the regional market, my dear friends. Do not run for the English markets. Do not run for these fancy companies. The companies which are very, very strongly there in the local markets are the ones who will be doing the best kind of business. Okay. Yes. Of course, this is something which we saw in the list, that the online gaming segment will be increasing the most. There will be another 100 million smartphones. And as I rightly said, once the 2G to the 3G to the 4G to the 5G comes, the gaming experience will also be very unique. This is something which one of the reports spoke about, that a lot of Hindi content in the form of films, in the form of, films only, is used, reused, watched and rewatched a number of times. But the experience has to come with what? This particular content has to come with a low cost non-metro venues with affordable pricing below 100 with food and beverages. This will counter the closure of single screens. So please understand that today the multiplex business will only survive in the most important metros and tier 2 cities. You go to Mofussil areas, you go to further, what we call as far away from the city, those areas will see a very difficult situation to run their business of films. Film marketing, film distribution is a very different business than other businesses. So if you are in marketing, if you are in sales, if you are in the business of, any product, remember that advertising plays a very important role. And advertising in all its forms is not something which can be neglected and ignored. But if you see, as per the Ernst Young reports, television might just be a little more than 5%. Print may go down, digital will go soaring up with 24. And in the new FICCI KPMG report, it says 37 or 38%. And the rest all are very, very significantly, not very alarmingly high. But see, print and radio may not see a great business. Okay, so if you are in the media business and you want to become media managers, I will share the PPT with sir. You can always read it in a little more relaxed way. But what exactly does the challenges that the media faces? The challenges that the media faces, the most important one, which is a lot in the news right now, is the tampering of the BARC rating, which is Bureau of Audio Research Council, which was replaced by TAM. The TAM reading was basically when you watch television content, and if you see an ad next day in the newspaper that this particular channel is the most watched, or this newspaper is most read, or this particular program of this channel is most viewed, that means the advertisers will start attracting, will start coming to that particular slot. So the more you advertise of those achievements, the more revenue in the form of advertising you get. But if that is faltered, that means if I say my channel, my news at 9 o'clock is the most watched, and the BARC report says this, that means I will believe that. But if BARC report has been faltered, then there is a big question. So that is another challenge. So as an advertiser, I don't know which particular slot to take. I don't know whether you have this particular module in your degree or not, which is media planning and buying, where we teach about this. So how do you decide for a product? You may be a manager for a cheese product. Do you know where should the cheese product be advertised? For lesser money to be spent, but more reach, for more, what you call as being more watched or recognized. Correct? Recruitment and retention, I already touched upon it. It's a market which is almost every day it changes, because today if I look at Big Boss, and I look at Big Boss 10 years back, I never thought Big Boss will be so big. So it evolves, it changes. You can't plan the entire year for the business. You have to go by the way the user is reacting to it. Okay. If you see what is ROI, return of investment. So don't think that these are all run by some family businesses without any money coming from anywhere. Everybody is not going to be like, what is his name? Mr. Maran, the Sun TV guy. There are Dayanidhi Maranji. There are so many other people who are running their businesses because there are a lot of investors. It is a corporate, it is a full-fledged business model on which the business is coming. So if the investment does not get returns, the investors will pull out. A lot of news channels are struggling. A lot of television channels in the GEC segment are struggling because the money does not get returns. People will not pay. People will not invest. So research and technology is constantly going to be watched by the media business so that they get a lot of, what you call as, the right kind of decisions they can make. Okay. Market is fragmented and there is a lot of competition. 999 channels are giving me the same SARS Bahu trauma. So which one should I pick up? The one which has a good story, the one which keeps changing fast, and the one which does not show a husband and wife do not meet each other because of whatever circumstances for 10 years. Kumkum Bhagya. How can you not have people not meeting for 10 years? That is television for us, my dear friends. Okay, so these are very smart ways of showing content. I'm not going to touch upon all this. You can just read it, what exactly it is. It means that the challenges are at various levels. The market is different. The marketing spend, that means a television commercial is the most expensive, advertising campaign for any company. We thought once upon a time it was print ads, but no, TVCs we call them. Television commercials are the most expensive ones. Okay. This is something which is a very long story. I'm not going to touch upon it, but yes, there is an agency, there is a client, and there is a media. So how does an advertising agency work? And if you know that this is what it is, that there can be a lot of differences here if people are not on the same page. Hiring an agency to promote your products through the advertising is a very expensive proposition. And as a client, if you cannot take it, then there are trouble. There is a problem. Correct? Yeah. So time and resources required versus monetary return, because a lot of times the advertising is done through credit. And if you don't get your bills taken care of, then there is a heavy figure that is expected out of the client. And if the client doesn't pay, you don't know what to do with that business. Should you continue serving that client, or you should withdraw? If you withdraw, you don't get the backlog money, so you continue and you keep asking him for some installments here and there. And that is how a client and a advertising agency sometimes work. A lot of things are also about the political parties which have used advertising agencies and have not paid them, and those have gone into crores. Yeah, increased focus on media return of investment rather than brand benefits. uh, if you see today, even the news channels have become very, very commercial. I'm sure I don't have to touch upon it, but you know that how do these panels work? What exactly is a news channel doing to us today? If I sit for a panel discussion, do I come out more informed, more enriched, and happier? Or I come out as very haggard, confused, frustrated, or maybe I mute them because I can't listen to that cacophony. There is a melodrama, there is a theater going on. Are we have we all signed up for that kind of information on media? Then the ownership, which is very important. If the ownership of these businesses are very clear about what they want to support and what policies they have, what kind of content they want to show, then you know that you are not doing justice to the content. For a lot of new people to enter the media business, it's very difficult because it requires a huge network, huge investment. And most of the businesses, if you see across the country, are people whom we call as conglomerates, correct? People who have multiple chain ownership or cross ownership. There is something to fall back on. There is something to support them in times where, like this, when the revenues are not there. Oh, glad. I have another 5 minutes, sir.
As you wish, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, please go on.
So this is what I was telling. Prinsky tells us we are digital natives and digital immigrants. We have already done this. This is what one of the BBC's senior journalists who worked in the Indian system for 30 years talks about journalism, which is not something you're concerned about, but just one line I would like to say, which is the last one, where he says, country's media, according to him, is treading a dangerous path. Why? Because there is very little time for good journalism, in-depth research, and any content which comes to the reader or viewer has to have a lot of research. There is no time for that. Everything on our television, on our mobiles, on our Google alerts, on our MSOs, we call as multiple screen options, are all breaking news. Everything is breaking news today. This is something which you must like read it like a Bible, what Vivek Bhargava talks about. He's the CEO of DAN, which is a part of, this thing, Dentsu Agency Network. That's the short form of the agency, which is a Japanese agency which has a lot of Indian senior people on the senior Indians on the senior position. And it talks about a very mixed kind of a segment. And believe me when I say this, I use this as a Bible for myself, which says Google Translation, audio newspapers, and books have made the entire market as a common mass media. User is the king, and content has to be customized as per their requirements. What does the second line say? It says that just imagine you have a Times of India and it can be read, no, it can be heard in your own language. So what will those normal, regular, non-English newspapers do? All you need is a good smartphone. All you need is a good network. And trust me, that means you don't even have to read that language. You can hear the stories. Like how we have now audio books. That means I don't strain my eyes. I can just plug in and I can listen to the book. Somebody is reading. What is the podcast today? It is one of the best forms. What is a radio story today? I was very recently, last year in London, and let me tell you honestly, it says that most of them listen to the radio, a radio which is kept in the corner of the hall, and it is played at 7 in the morning, and people are just working and listening to the radio because TV takes away your visual time. You have to be glued to the television. Whereas if you're listening to the radio in the most authentic form, that is, let's say BBC, you are listening to a good diction, you are listening to good research stories, and you're doing something else simultaneously. So this is one of the agency person who has spoken about it, that if the traditional media does not change its ways, it is going to finish. You better redefine yourself. This is, I will skip this. This is a production house person. You may not be very wanting to know that. Yeah. Employment opportunities. These are the employment opportunities in media. You can work in so many areas. As today, the word which comes to my mind when I place my students or when I train my students, sir, I have not told you this, but I have 1,000 students with me in my media department. So we have 2 undergraduate and 2 postgraduate programs. And we have 1,000 students in my department. And whether it is a first year undergraduate student to a student who is in his second year of PG, one thing which I tell him or her is that equip yourself, be passionate about something.
Yeah.
Upskill yourself, upgrade yourself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, so nice of you.
Thank you for listening.
Okay. Let me start with a small query, ma'am. Subsequently, we can leave the forum open to the students too.
Yes.
Of course, it is painful to note somebody who has got 30 years of experience in the journalism. He says our Indian media is treading a dangerous path.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course, you have also touched that out of their anxiety to come out with the breaking news, the reliability part takes a toll, heavy toll. Okay, what would be the future, ma'am? Because ultimately, everything may become unreliable. Am I right? Whatever I hear through the media, out of their anxiety to come out or to break the news. Okay, the truth or the reliability part takes a heavy toll. So where are we heading towards?
Sir, I think that's a brilliant question, which a lot of people like us who are media educators keep thinking about it. But there is I'm very optimistic about the future. I'll tell you what. Okay. There will be students like what we have in this forum who are going to be educated about segregating the real news from the fake news. You know, you have to equip yourself with that. There are Google instructors who come online and teach you how to figure out that this particular post, I must tell you on a very jocular note, that every time when there is monsoon in Mumbai, we know that there is a deluge. There is a situation where early in the morning on Times of India's first page, it says, today schools and colleges will be closed. Okay. Now it has moved to the Twitter handle of the education minister. So we wait for the education minister to tweet about it at 11 o'clock in the night. So
Yeah.
people who are miscreants have posted on Twitter as if it's a holiday tomorrow, whereas the minister has not done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we should know how to change that. Also, the second part of your question is, I do not leave hopes because, see, if you remember, when television came, we thought radio will not be heard.
Yeah.
When television came, we thought we will not go to see the films. They have survived. The traditional media can be ignored for a while, but it cannot be removed from the system.
Yeah.
If I say a newspaper is not going to be read by these youngsters, they will still look at the newspaper on the website or on the e-paper. Okay. So I think newspaper is the best way of being informed, and a newspaper business may not kind of allow itself to be diluted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, they lose their accountability and credibility.
Okay. Again, coming back to the newspaper, of course, you're so right when you were talking about the costing part of it, because it costs around 20 rupees for them, but we do pay only 4 rupees or 5 rupees. The rest comes through advertising model. Okay?
Yes.
And of course, a couple of years back, many of the newspapers, they have started talking about subscription-based model.
Yes.
Because this is no longer going to be a freebie kind of, it is to be paid. Okay? So many people, they were trying to move towards the subscription model, and that is when the COVID stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what will happen to that scenario? Do you think, two questions, ma'am. Do you think, because many of us, of course, since we do have some psychological fear, whether it is proved or not, that's a different story. We stopped buying the newspaper. Maybe the guy who is carrying the newspaper may carry something or other. So out of this anxiety, we have stopped buying, and many people are yet to get back to buying the newspaper. Okay. Now, do you think newspaper will emerge again or will bounce back? Number one. Number two, when will this subscription model come into being?
Thanks, sir, for this question. Let me tell you, in my research, because I have recently concluded my PhD. I am in the 50s club, but I was somebody who was very busy branding my own department for 20 years. I never thought my research is very important, but yeah, in the last few years, I realized that this will not work. And hence I did. So my research is very recent, and I will be very honest when I say this to you, that the digital format of the newspaper is most of the time a replica of the hard copy. Okay. So the subscription a user does is for the hard copy and not for the online copy. So I asked this to a lot of editors in Mumbai, not me. Like, I believe in not putting my views to you. I'm telling what editors have to say. And they say that though we may charge little for the subscription online. Okay. So let's say 5 papers charge you online for their content. You may not mind taking that content because you know it's very good, but that is a very niche reader. The general readers are not digital readers even today in our country. Okay. So newspaper business is not going to go away. Plus, the newspapers are going to be read by a lot of people in different parts of the country, because I buy a 4 rupee newspaper and 10 people in my house, 10 people in the building, 10 people in the neighborhood will read the same newspaper from morning till evening. So I don't need internet for it. I don't need a screen for it. I don't need to put it in a particular way where it is charged or not. So these are the limitations which the online news consumption brings. So subscription model will continue, will remain. It is seeing a low right now, but it will revive. I am not talking about the English readers at all.
Right.
English readers, according to us, are very elite crowd.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Shriram, we can make it open to the students.
Ma'am, indeed, a wonderful enlightenment to us. So now let me call upon students. You all have the access. Please unmute yourself and ask your questions.
Yes.
Anu
Very
has-
good evening, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
So you spoke about podcast, ma'am, and how far do you think podcast has created an influence of the youngsters, and what will be the future of podcast?
See, podcast has a lot of niche content, correct? So I may be a good, a young dad who is creating 13 episodes of young dads. Whether in the pandemic, what have they done with their kid? Or is it the only mother? So the first thing in that podcast, what came to my mind was what young dad and all. The content should be about the mother, but that's not what podcast is about. It is trying to give you a very refreshing and a very different point of view where you are compelled to listen to episodes after episodes because it comes in a different package. It is shunning the traditional ways of looking at content, especially the audio content. Yeah. Yes, thank you for that question. There is one on the chat box, I think.
Yes. Anu Soundarya, would you like to come and Anu Soundarya? Or should I read it out for you?
I will read, Sriram. Shall we expect any changes in marketing like new sponsors or in the budget of advertising in the Olympics 21? Did you know who was sponsoring IPL? Likely to sponsor? Anybody? They lost the sponsorship because of what and why?
Educators and FMCGs usually advertise during these IPLs, ma'am.
Yes. So which was the biggest sponsor?
An academy.
No. The IPL was the major player was supposed to be a telephone service provider. Okay, and the phone which the phone company was Oppo, and it is
Okay,
China.
ma'am.
Hence it lost because at that time our relations with that country were very, very tensed, and we could not allow such companies to flourish in our market by hurting us at the LAC. Okay, so the business to the political connections, to the political relations, to the political climate that you have with your countries around also plays a very important role. So when you talk about Olympics 21, the bidding has already started. People have already been decided. It's just that we may not have a formal announcement. Correct?
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you for that question, Anu. Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I'm Lokeshwaran.
Yes, Lokeshwaran, tell me.
It was a nice session, ma'am. My question is how the privacy concern among the consumer will impact the digital marketing, because now Facebook also asking to share the update its privacy policy to share the WhatsApp information with it.
That's a very smart question, Lokeshwaran. See, when you book on Swiggy and Zomato, what do? Do you give your name? Do you give your mail ID? Do you give your address? When we want hot piping food coming to our doorstep, we give away all our details. And if you read a lot of case studies, people have lost money while swiping online their cards. So there is, I don't remember the title of the documentary, which is about how are we watched by Facebook. It's a very scary documentary, and it talks about the volumes of data which is there with the company which can be used and which we know there are proofs that in a lot of that countries, I don't want to name it, in that country's political campaigns, those data were transferred to them. We have read about it, we have seen about it. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember reading about it? Cambridge Analytica, what happened?
US election.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you all are in the second year or in the first year, Lokeshwaran?
I'm second year, ma'am.
Second year, okay. So, Narayan sir, everything is online now, the lectures, or do you call?
Yeah. We do it online.
Okay.
We are yet to commence the offline classes.
Okay.
We are awaiting the government's order.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody?
Ma'am, good evening.
Yes, Sujit.
Regarding YouTube, ma'am, question regarding YouTube.
Yes, Sujit.
Ma'am, I have to start my own YouTube. What should be the length of my video to assure my audience listen, ma'am?
What kind of content is very important, Sujit? For example, if you are cooking something,
Okay, ma'am.
a normal dish will not happen before 3 minutes.
Okay, ma'am.
Even if we make sood idlis and chutney, we have to show people how to make the batter, no?
Yes, ma'am.
So 3 minutes is the longest time that any user will be available to you on YouTube. Okay?
Okay,
And the longer you can go with your content, once you have people who are, you get that what we call in the media language as the traction. So if you get people watching your content, then you can increase the length of the content, but do not make it very long in the beginning, because people are not interested in your content for the first time. And if the content is not very unique and rich and engaging, you will not have people seeing it.
Okay, ma'am.
So
Thank
there
you.
is something which we call in our Mumbai, this thing which is called as TTT, Terribly Tiny Tales. Go and watch that. They give
Okay.
you a story in 3 sentences. And it is very rich. Terribly Tiny Tales. They are in news for different reasons now after the Me Too movement and all. But they gave the best content. People like that content. We say 1 minute video of news. I'm sorry to say this, but that video does not do justice. But I don't have more than 1 minute to watch a story. So I would like to know in 1 minute, what did DJ Academy do in the last 1 year? So you have put 365 days and I want it in 1 minute's nutshell. That is the compulsion of the content today. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. I am Divya Prabhanjan from 2nd MBA, ma'am.
Yes.
My question is, COVID has contributed to growth of the OTT platform. Will this growth continue, ma'am?
100%. Devin, the OTT platform is the best thing that has happened to the Indian, viewer. It still does not have censorship. So, Devin, if I ask you, have you seen something like Patal Lok? I'm just asking. You may have not seen. It's a Hindi web series. Okay. But people who have seen Patal Lok and they have liked it is because of the crudeness with which it shows the content.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
You know what you call as the unedited version of the truth. There is no censorship. You may want to see that content like that because otherwise we are in Mumbai used to a lot of Karan Johar kind of films. The real families do not live like that.
Ma'am, but I recently watched a scam 1980.
Yes, Devin, yes, that is very good. Harshad Mehta's. Yes, very nice.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So you can imagine, I keep watching a lot of OTT content, and Narayan sir and Sri Raman sir, you will be a little scandalized about this, that we have to watch whether it is good or bad, because we have to give these examples to our students.
Yeah.
Correct? So my children are very scandalized when they see me watching something like Ashram.
Okay.
Okay, it's one of the worst content by Bobby Deol. But the truth is, there are such people who have lured people and have cheated people. Correct? So we have to be very updated as management students also.
Yeah.
You cannot say you are a separate part of the society. Society is very convergent now. You should know everything, and that makes you more informed. Correct? I hope
Good
I
evening,
answered.
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, journalist like Faye D'Souza has started a YouTube channel and she's quite successful. So will there be a change in behavior of audience in watching news going forward in YouTube instead of television?
No. No, dear. Faye D'Souza is not watched by everybody in India. Faye D'Souza was watched more when she was on Mumbai Mirror. You remember her this thing program which she used to host at 9 o'clock?
Urban debate, ma'am.
Sorry,
the urban debate, I think.
Yes, the urban debate. And she was such a, she rose to fame because of that. And she was pulled down from that because of what reasons we don't know, whether she left it or she was asked to leave. But her show on YouTube is very, very, it's watched by a lot of people, but not by as many people as Mirror now was seen. So there is always a difference. The screen is different, the audience is different. I want to ask you, Devanandini, one very simple question, if you can answer. Which is the television channel which is watched the most today? Even today? You may come up with a Star or a Z or no, it is still Doordarshan.
Doordarshan.
So you can imagine the users in our country still are, they don't mind watching Doordarshan, they don't mind watching the serials and the content on Doordarshan, because it is steadily the same and it is something which comes for free. Yes.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am. I'm Mahalingam.
Yes, Mahalingam.
Ma'am, the presentation of yours was very good. I really enjoyed it. Though I've heard from many speakers giving the presentation, but I don't know why I could feel a lot connected with you when you said Game of Thrones. And ma'am, the question to you is, ma'am, according to you, what is the impact of social media on marketing?
See, social media is an essential tool for marketing, Malingam.
Yes, ma'am.
But should not be the only tool for marketing.
Okay, ma'am.
What we call as something which is like bridge marketing, or we call it as twinned marketing. Marketing which has a combination of 2-3 different forms or more forms, but marketing which is only meant for social media is a very niche market even today.
Okay, ma'am.
But yes, Malingam, there is a very important catch there, which is your artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence on Facebook catches what you visit, where you go, what is your choice. So it personalizes, customizes those products for you. Whether you like it or not, it is running on the toolbar for you, irritating you, but it is there. Like we give a very, very simple example in advertising about, let's say, a Lijjat Papad, if you remember that ad. Or if you remember an MDH masala ad, it has been the same for so many years.
Years together, yeah.
Do you think they can't afford to change or what? They can. They don't, because it has a brand recall. So the minute I go into a shop, I will ask, I mean, of course, we have appalam in, which is the most beautiful papad in Tamil Nadu, but up here in North, we use a lot of these pepper papads, the roasted papads. So the first thing which comes to your mind is lichet.
Yes, ma'am.
So you look at a Trivago ad, which we all have seen. Booking hotel rooms has become very easy. After 5-7 times when you watched that ad, did you like that gentleman? He was so unpresentable. And he was so irritating, but we kept on watching him and we were irritated. We kept on watching him. That means what? Sometimes a repetition of the same kind of ad also makes us remember the.
Yes, ma'am. But as we are getting into more of this digital era, we are likely to be more, what to say, can be harmed with hackers, ma'am.
That is a catch which we all have, no? I mean, our government has done a paperless banking for us, which we all were very scared. But today, I think we all are very comfortable with it. I mean, your Google Pay to your pay only to your pay you to your so many other ways of doing it, scanning or there is another one which I recently realized that you take your debit card and if you have got a billing of less than 2,000, you don't have to pay. You don't have to swipe. It just you just scan and give it and it is done. That's why they have put a cap of 2,000. Because if I lose my card and somebody just uses it like that, I'm finished. So such, walls are always there. But yes, I mean, it is scary. It is very porous. We all are very exposed. We all are very prone to, vulnerable to a lot of things because we have shared so much of details of us. But going forward, only the time can say that how are we going to get protected from all this. If you realize you keep your GPS on, what does it mean? People know where you are. Yeah. I mean, the minute I step out of the mall, he says, how was your experience at Danish? So my That's husband will come to know that I had been. It's not a very happy experience.
That's right.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Mahalingam sir, thank you for joining us. Can you just introduce yourself, sir?
Oh my God, Mahalingam sir, I thought he's a
Ma'am, I'm a student, ma'am. I'm a student. A very good evening, ma'am. I have just completed my BBA degree. Okay. And 2-3 days before I came to DJ Academy, I just visited around. So sir gave the link, told me to join. So I joined, ma'am.
Oh, Mahalingam, good. Happy to have you. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I can see a Dr. Sangeeta.
She's my colleague. Yeah. Okay. Shiraman, can we wrap it up? It's almost 7:25.
Yes, sir. Students, no more.
Good evening, sir. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Nambi, working with DJ Academy.
Yes.
Ma'am, it is something related to the changes in the new WhatsApp policy, which is going to come to effect from next month. Should we say yes to policy changes, or should we listen to Elon Musk when he said use Signal? When he said use Signal, I know that so much of servers came to crash because so many people listen to Elon Musk. That is the power of social media today, especially when what is your opinion on that, ma'am?
Nambi sir, I want to give you a very simple example. If you are on Twitter, or if you are not on Twitter, I can just connect and tell you what happened.
I am a digital migrant, madam.
Sorry, sir?
I am a digital migrant.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So, Nambi sir, what happened? There was a strong drive on Twitter to ask Mr. Amitabh Bachchan and Anand Mahindra to stop using WhatsApp.
Correct.
This is like a year back or a few months back. And the reason was very funny. I thought they have put some objectionable content, or there was something about religion or whatever, why it was. It was because they were forwarding WhatsApp messages which were not correct.
Correct.
So the minute I get a WhatsApp message from Amitabh Bachchan, which I don't get, I'm just hoping I'll get one day. If I get it, I will be very, very happy about the message. Do you think I will ever question that Amitabh Bachchan has sent a wrong message? Because he himself doesn't know it's a wrong message. So if we are not literate enough to see what is wrong and right, there will be a problem. Ravina Tandon last year sent a message saying that the British or the American army sang Jana Gana Mana, and that video was shared on 15th August or something. Somebody immediately corrected her on Twitter, ma'am, this was when our Prime Minister had gone and visited their country. So we know how to use the video. I mean, I must tell you one last example. I know I talk a lot because professors are like that. The flood situation in Mumbai was 26 July 2011. And that video keeps coming on most of the television channels every year.
Yeah.
But we know, because we know that one guy was lifting something and moving. So how can be the same guy lifting the same thing every year?
Yeah.
Deja vu.
Yes, Ranjit is asking which is the best marketing media, best network market media, ma'am.
Facebook
I
or
think
Instagram?
Instagram is the best one now. Instagram. There are people who do a lot of things on their blogs also, but I think Instagram is a very pleasant interface. It's like just one note, one story, one one simple way of putting. It's like just an extension. Of course, it is an extension of Facebook. So yeah, I think that's good.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes,
I'm
Sandura.
most of the organizations are now on social media.
Yeah.
Can we pursue a career in content writing?
100%, Sundara. 100%. So social media executives, social media managers, content writers. And Sindhura, when you say that you can write good content, remember writing content also is a craft which is taught. Don't think that content writing is because we are creative. There is a very we are doing it from the month of February in our institution. We do it for our students, that when you say content writing also has a lot of classifications. So you have to tune yourself with those skills. Correct? So if I ask you to write something for a cookery show, and if I ask you to write something for a television channel which is giving you news, to something which is about an apparel, about a clothing line, the writing has to change. The words have to change. Correct? It's a very, very long certificate program we offer in our department. So Narayan sir, if you are interested, you can coordinate with us. We will help you with some sessions on that. And if you have something, we will look at that also.
Definitely, ma'am.
How mutually we can, because the virtual world has brought all of us together.
That's how you are with us today.
Okay, so and we have a conference next month by the end of
you told me. Let us explore all the possible avenues for mutual cooperation, ma'am.
Yes.
It would be our pleasure. Okay.
Okay. So, ma'am, thank you indeed. It was wonderful presentation, lot of enrichment. In fact, I handle IMC last sem for my students.
Okay.
I think
that is a full paper, you can't teach in one slide.
Yes. After this sem, I think they have got a great revision also. I think now they must have evaluated did I write my exam well or not.
And Sriram sir. Same thing, Srimaraman sir, when you say And when I say sitting in Mumbai, it looks different to the students.
Yes.
I have experienced it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So can you all come on video? We would love to take a picture with you all, at least virtually.
Okay. So, ma'am, just can you give me
Sangeeta?
given only audio access? If you give me 2 to 3 minutes, I'll just give all them a video.
No issues.
Meanwhile, I think Dr. Sangeeta has got a question. Pierce?
No, sir. No, I don't have any question. Just
Yeah.
call me. No, I couldn't respond that time. So.
Right.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you, Sangeeta? What do
Yeah,
you
fine.
in the academy?
Ma'am, pardon me, ma'am. I couldn't hear you.
What is your area of specialization?
Mine is into operations, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your session. Your session was quite interesting.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
See, we can do a lot of such sessions mutually. We will want you all also to join us, and we will take. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, sir. We have fantastic speakers in our department. People who are from the industry, people who are in production, in photography, in filmmaking. By the way, I think I can just use this platform to say that one of the leading actors who you have in Tamil industry also, Kajal Agrawal, is my 2003 student.
Okay. Okay. That's
so
good.
I take pride in that. And without knowing Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, I think she has just worked so well. So we have a combination of very good photographers, very good filmmakers, actors, and of course senior journalists and advertising agency and public relations. So it's a combination that we have in our department.
Yes, ma'am. I'm done. Students, can you all come and video for a screenshot for ma'am, please? Students. Never mind, students. You can just come and video and show your face.
The thing is, a lot of us do not sit very appropriately, no? So I have seen that. And our principal says, please switch on your video. We deaf ear, like, Arey yaar, who is wanting to switch on?
Okay.
So it's okay. I think everybody doesn't want to.
You have come. Yes, they have come, ma'am. They have come.
Yes.
Students, just come for 1 or 2 minutes. We'll just take a screenshot.
Nice to see you all in your homes. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. This is upskilling time. Jobs will always be there. Don't worry. Study well now. Take the best out of it. Have you opened up, sir, in Coimbatore? How is it like? The city is...
opened up, ma'am. Life is as usual.
So you all are coming to the institute regularly?
No, ma'am. As far as the institutions are concerned, we still go by the government norms.
Oh, okay. You're waiting.
Okay. We are waiting. So most probably by February 1st or 2nd week, we may open up. Okay. But the industry is completely opened up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. I think, that's...
We'll have a formal vote of thanks, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Let me call upon Sandhya, first MBA. Sandhya, can you come in, Sandhya, to propose a vote of thanks?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, all. On behalf of DJ Academy for Managerial Excellence, I would like to thank the speaker, Dr. Manjula Srinivas, for sparing her valuable time to enlighten us about the media business. Thank you, ma'am. I would also thank our beloved director, Dr. AGB Narayanan, our Chief Executive, Captain Sendil Kumar, and the faculty members for their encouragement and support. I would also thank the students of DJ AME and all other participants for joining today's webinar. And thank you all and have a pleasant evening.
Yeah, once again, thank you very much, ma'am, for sparing your time. And Annapurna,